Neglect and poor treatment of animals in factory farms. Background info. Factory farming is a system of rearing livestock using intensive methods by which poultry, pigs, or cattle are confined indoors under strictly controlled conditions. Factory farming started with chickens and first appeared on the scene in 1926. It wasn't by design, but rather the result of an over-delivery of 450 chicks to a small farm on the Delmarva Peninsula. The first animal factory appeared in the 1970s and was used mainly for egg production. Until the 1900s, chickens were kept outside in coops and in backyards by families, keeping a small number of hens. Indoor farming was introduced at the start of the last century when layer hens were first kept in more intensive systems. Problem. Factory farms dominate U.S. food production, employing abusive practices that maximize agribusiness profits at the expense of the environment, our communities, animal welfare, and even our health. Factory farming puts an incredible strain on natural resources. The significant amount of waste that is created by raising farm animals in factory farms pollutes our land, air, and water. People who live in areas near factory farms often report high amounts of illnesses as well as lower property values due to industrial farms. Also, antibiotics are used to extreme measures on factory farms, which causes drug-resistant bacteria, which can put human health at risk. The CDC estimates up to half of all antibiotics used in U.S. medicine are improperly prescribed, speeding up resistance. But that is nothing compared with how recklessly they've been used in factory farms. When you treat thousands of chickens in a huge enclosed barn with, say, steady doses of tetracycline, you risk generating an E. coli bug that can resist the antibiotic you threw at it. And that bug's new superpowers can also jump to a strain of salmonella that happens to be hanging around. Social conditions and processes. Animals are fed corn, wheat, and soy, which are grown through intensive industrial farming that use large amounts of pesticides which can remain in their bodies and are passed on to the people who eat them, creating serious health hazards in humans. The beaks of chickens, turkeys, and ducks are often removed in factory farms to reduce the excessive feather pecking and cannibalism seen among stressed, overcrowded birds. Dairy cows typically live to their third lactation before being culled. Naturally, a cow can live for 20 years. Egg-laying hens are sometimes starved for up to 14 days, exposed to changing light patterns, and given no water, which will shock their bodies into molting. It is common for 5% to 10% of hens to die during the forced molting process. Explanatory analysis. Animals raised for food constitute the largest animal protection issue ever. More animals are killed in factory farms than in hunting, shelters, and research combined. Worldwide, the number of land animals consumed are an astounding 58 billion, not including sea creatures. These numbers are as incomprehensible as the national debt and unfathomable when one considers each was a living, conscious being with interests of their own. Animals on factory farms are subject to painful procedures and surgeries, often done to prevent aberrant behaviors resulting from the frustrations of living in barren, unnatural environments. Conclusion. There are many things that are wrong with factory farming, and I've only hit on a few in my presentation. Influenza is a major issue when it comes to animals. Experts agree that most, and perhaps all, strains of the influenza virus that affect human beings originate from contact with other animals, especially domesticated birds and pigs in Asia. Antibiotic resistance is also related to how many people now understand the basic evolution principle that our increasing use of antibiotics fuels the evolution and dispersion of antibiotic resistance bacteria.